how the Overton window controls you. Have you ever noticed how something that seemed like unthinkable madness just yesterday suddenly becomes normal today? How society, like a gigantic ship, slowly, almost imperceptibly, yet steadily changes its course, leaving behind entire islands of beliefs on which we stood so firmly just recently. This is neither magic nor coincidence, but the work of a subtle, invisible mechanism that governs our thoughts, desires, and even our sense of what is permissible, turning us all into obedient passengers on this ship of history. Today we will talk about how all of us, every single one of us, are gently but firmly herded into frames known as the Overton window, and how this fragile yet powerful instrument of manipulation turns bold ideas into taboos and repulsive insanities into everyday norms. You will learn how this process works at every stage, what techniques are used to shift the boundaries of the permissible, and why it is so crucial to be aware of its existence so as not to become just another piece on someone else's chessboard. Imagine a huge building in which the entire society lives. In this building there are many rooms, and at each room you can only talk about what its walls allow. One room is the world of moderate, generally accepted ideas, where everyone feels comfortable and safe. But beyond its walls lie other chambers. There dwell radical, strange, or even frightening thoughts. Some of these rooms are locked with all the locks. Their content seems so alien and dangerous to society that even mentioning them aloud is considered bad form or a sign of madness. This is precisely the boundary of the Overton window, an invisible but very strong frame that determines which ideas can be freely discussed in the public space and which must remain beyond its limits, in the shadows of oblivion or contempt. The most astonishing thing about this window is that it is not static. Its frames can shift, expanding or contracting, and it is precisely in this movement that the entire secret of its power over us lies. At one time, the idea of abolishing slavery was an unthinkable heresy for the majority, and today it is an unshakable foundation of morality. Conversely, some things that were once perfectly normal now evoke horror and disgust. This shift is not the result of a sudden mass epiphany, but the result of carefully planned and long-term work, whose goal is to prepare the ground for new, premeditated ideas. How then does this mysterious shift of boundaries occur? It all begins with an idea being thrown into the public arena that lies far beyond what is permissible, in the zone of the unthinkable. Its authors are called madmen, marginals, or dangerous radicals, and society unanimously rejects them. But it is precisely in this rejection that the first clever move is hidden. For the very discussion, even in the form of condemnation, already brings the idea out of complete darkness into twilight. Then more moderate, yet still radical voices appear who begin to talk about the problem associated with this idea, not proposing it directly, but raising questions that make people think. This is the radical stage, where the idea no longer seems so unthinkable, but rather controversial and requiring discussion. Next come the intellectuals, journalists, and even some politicians who start to consider this idea as one of the possible, albeit unlikely, alternatives. They do not openly support it, but they no longer condemn it with the same fury, moving it into the category of the acceptable. It is at this moment that the most important thing happens. The idea ceases to be a taboo and becomes a subject of legitimate public dialogue. An example of such a shift can be seen in the history of services like ride-hailing. In the 1990s, parents thought it was absolute madness to get into a car with a stranger you found by phone. It was in the zone of the unthinkable. Then the first discussions about safety and convenience appeared, then moderate proposals for regulation, and now millions of people cannot imagine life without this service, which has become a full and unconditional norm, moving right into the center of the window. The media and culture play the role of the main forgers of this new consciousness in this process. They do not shout about new ideas from their screens. No, they act much more subtly and elegantly. They weave them into movie plots, into the dialogues of TV series characters, in the song lyrics, and even in the commercials. They create a new context in which old norms begin to look outdated, and new ones natural and even desirable. They shape the emotional background on which an idea is either rejected or accepted. For example, to make some social model acceptable, the first thing cinema and television do is to show sympathetic, kind, and successful people who adhere to it. They are not condemned, they are loved and sympathized with. Gradually, the viewer forms an association. This model is not about ideology, it is about good people. And if good people live this way, then it cannot be so scary. Thus, step by step, through emotions and sympathies rather than logical arguments, the boundaries of the permissible expand or contract. Politicians, in turn, always follow this window rather than lead it. They know perfectly well that proposing an idea that lies beyond its boundaries means political suicide. Therefore, they wait until public opinion ripens, until the media prepare the ground, and only then do they boldly enter the new room that others have opened for them and declare it their own territory, as if they themselves were its original discoverers. Why, then, do we so easily succumb to this influence? The answer, alas, is simple and bitter. Because thinking is hard and accepting ready-made frames is easy. It is much more convenient for us to live in a world where everything is already neatly sorted out, where there is a clear understanding of what is good and what is bad, what is allowed and what is not. This gives an illusion of safety and order. The Overton window provides us with this illusion, sparing us the need to constantly analyze and reevaluate every idea we encounter. We trust this invisible filter created by society, the media, and power, and do not notice how it gradually changes its parameters. We do not see how our own convictions, which we consider unshakable and personal, are in fact the product of careful construction. We think we choose for ourselves, but in reality, we are simply given a choice from what has already been approved for selection. This is the essence of the obedience in question, not crude suppression of will, but a gentle, almost tender guidance of thought along pre-laid rails, where any deviation seems not only strange, but also a little wrong, almost immoral. So what can be done to avoid becoming a pawn in this game? The only way is constant, vigilant, and critical thinking. One must learn to look at any generally accepted truth with suspicion, asking oneself a simple question. Why did this become the norm? Who benefits from it? What ideas were thus pushed into the shadows and why? One must consciously step outside one's information bubble, reading not only what confirms our views, but also what challenges them, even if it causes discomfort. One must remember that today's heresy can become tomorrow's dogma, and today's dogma tomorrow's heresy. The mere awareness of the existence of the Overton window is already a powerful shield against its manipulations. This knowledge allows us not to just drift with the current, but to become captains of our own ship, capable of seeing not only the shore to which we are being led, but all the others hidden beyond the horizon. Do not let anyone decide for you what you can think and what you cannot think. Seek the truth where it is least expected, and remember that the greatest danger is not in thinking wrongly, but in ceasing to think at all.